What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more video game music. And we're going back to one of my favorite games of all time, which I've already discussed in a few reactions, which is to say Chrono Cross. And the excellent composer of the Chrono series, Yasunori Mitsuda, shout out to him. And yeah, we're going to listen to a tune that is in one way responsible for my cat having the name she does. Let me explain. My cat's name is Lucca. People who know the Chrono games will know the character Lucca Ashtear. She's a selectable or usable character in the first game, and she was always one of my favorites because she's a scientific inventor and machine creator, and all the main characters in the game are teenagers, so she's like this young inventor who is, not ladylike in the traditional sense, and she makes robots and she wants to read books and so on. So I always thought it was a cool character. Well, it turns out they had even greater ideas when it came to the second game, and without spoiling anything, I'll just say that Lucca Ashtear, at the end of the first game, starts an orphanage, and she begins to take in local kids and those without parents. Eventually, she takes in a very particular orphan, which I won't spoil it, but it's the main thread connecting Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, which turns out to be everything, again, to speak in very vague terms. But because she takes in this particular orphan, a villainous antagonist who travels through time goes to the orphanage when the orphan in question and several others are very young, and this person sets the building on fire, tries to kill everyone, kills Lucca Ashtear, not the orphan in question, not I think a couple of the other orphans, and part of it is that you, the main character of the game, go back to that situation also, and you try to stop it from happening. Now again, you can't save Lucca, the house still burns down, but you do help the orphans get out, which of course proves to be very critical. Nevertheless, the whole time you're doing this mission, this track called Orphan of Flame is playing. And unlike in every other part of the game where, when you're walking around in a dungeon around the world map, it's playing one music, and then when you go into a battle, it switches into the default battle music. This track plays uninterrupted the whole time, whether you're in a battle or not, which I really enjoyed the way they did that. So again, it relates to one of my favorite video game characters ever, who again provided the name for my cat eventually. It relates to her dying in a sacrificial way. Like, it just made the character way cooler than she already was after the first game. And this track, it nails it. It's epic. It sounds like the world is burning down, but it's also deeply emotional at the same time. It just hits the exact vibe of the scene. So, with no further ado, this is Yasunori Mitsuda from Chrono Cross, and the track is called Orphan of Flame, and shout out to Lucca Ashtear. Again, like the walls burning down. critical to why that's good. It's the organ, which is very much in like Phantom of the Opera, like dark, wicked territory, which again, it fits the scene. It's also the strings and the way they're very forceful and like forte and the way they accentuate the organ run. Then it's those drums, they're sort of like a march, or at the very least they're frenetic, there's kinetic action happening as I shoot my tea string into the cup. And then lastly, it's those vocals, very heightened, very epic and dramatic, and it's the way all those elements come together that make that track just perfect. But again, it's not just sonically. Like, if you know the game, or if you can appreciate the idea of like a major character from the first game that's very popular, and it turns out did something really cool that you're sort of learning about as you go through the second game, and then you go back in time to try to save her as the orphanage is burning down around you, and that's the track that's playing. It's like, holy shit. So yeah, bottom line, always love that track, always love that game. Shout out to Yasunori Mitsuda, as well as all the people behind the game. And indeed, if you didn't know, like, the original character was designed in Chrono Trigger, like all the other characters in Chrono Trigger, by Akira Toriyama, the guy behind Dragon Ball. So yeah, basically there was like a real like super team of creative people that came together to make the Chrono universe. So shout out to all of them. Let me know what you think of this tune. Obviously the video game music playlist, as I've begun so many more deep dives, including groups that have a lot of people that want to talk about different tracks and albums. This reaction series has become less, but I will try to keep it going. I've been meaning to do the first Dr. Wily stage from Mega Man 2 for a while, because I did a playthrough of Mega Man 2, and it was reminding me, not only do I love the track, but there's that classic internet track Okusenmon, so I'd be keen to talk about that for a few minutes. So that'll probably be the next video game music reaction. Do let me know what you think of this. I will see you next time. Peace.